Good morning, or whatever time of day it is that you get this video, honey. Today is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Okay, let's get into it. So, I am doing a deep dive on Romans. And as I'm doing Romans, I am also being led to study and really think about faith and how we practice our faith, what faith looks like, what that means, like all the things, right? And so when I do a study, if I'm doing it alone, I like to use study plans. And so in my study plans, honey, excuse the noise in the background. In my study plans, I usually use YouVersion. And this particular topic of faith that we're going to discuss today comes from a plan that Pastor Tony Evans did. Now, Tony Evans is my uncle pastor. He has no idea that I'm alive, but that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So when we talk about faith, that is a big, big topic. A lot of people, and it's a word that is thrown around a lot, but I don't think we always understand what it takes to have faith, what it takes to practice faith, what faith even really is. It's just a word. And so as I studied, and again, using this guy from Uncle Pastor Tony Evans, faith is a present trust. And so I never thought about it like that. Like faith is for right now. Faith is present trust based on past promises that God has made, based on his word, right? And so when we think about faith, well, I'm going to say this. When I thought about faith, I always thought about things to come, having faith that something else is, better is coming. That is hope, right? So hope is an expectation. Faith is what we practice in the very moment. And so when we are being in the present and we're operating our faith, we have to check our heart, right? So we cannot have a hard heart and practice faith in the same space. Now, here's the thing, we can be sad, we can be happy, we can be a wealth of emotions and have faith in the same space, but we cannot have a hardened heart or have a posture of unforgiveness and have faith. Okay. So we really do need to check our heart posture. And Tony Evans in this particular, and I'll link um the plan in the comments, but he says that our faith is measured by our actions, our words, and our thoughts. And I've done a video about this before. We don't really know where our faith is, how strong our faith is, how to practice our faith, unless we go through trials or sufferings. It's like training, it's like running. You don't know how far you can run or if your endurance for running has increased unless you test it, right? And so oftentimes we get upset because we're having these trials and these sufferings and these obstacles. And it's like, but that's a part of it, because how else do I measure whether or not my faith is really growing, whether or not I am growing spiritually? So he says it is measured by our actions, our words, and our thoughts. Okay, which I thought was amazing. And then, you know, if you look at Romans 5, Paul talks about sufferings, and he talks about how when we suffer in God's hands, not when we bring the suffering on ourselves, but when we suffer in God's hands, it's transformative, it's purposeful, and it's productive. And we don't look at suffering like that. We often look at it as punishment. But I want to shift your thoughts today that when you're going through something, when you're going through a trial, when you're having sufferings, obstacles, all the things, make sure that you are rooted in God. Okay? Make sure that you're being guided by God. Check your heart posture, because when you do that, then we know that these sufferings are not in vain. It is transformative, it is purposeful, and it's productive. And so today, as we practice our faith and we go deeper into faith, I want you to walk away with something. Here is your takeaway. I want you to write down 3 things or 3 areas where God's promises were fulfilled for you. Okay, because remember, faith is for the present based on promises that he's made, based on things that he has done, and based on his word. So I want you to write 3 things that God has done for you, okay, where his promises were fulfilled. And then I want you to write 1 to 3 areas where you know you need to pray about your heart posture. so that you can build your faith, so that we can walk together. Okay. We'll continue this conversation on faith, but today was just a little snippet. I hope that it really resonated with you and that it's going to help you. Let's walk in faith today, y'all. Have a great day.